So this is a system that we're going to use. But before we go ahead, let's just have a quick revision what we have done because by default, job requisition is the most complex activity in the RCM, and most of the people they get confused. So let's have a quick discussion on that, so that whatever we're going to start a new topic, or so there is no confusion on that. So we're going to talk about the job requisition. What is job requisition, team? Team
So
revision is something which you people have to answer, right?
yes, job requisition is the proposal from the internal team for the position.
Yes. Job requisition is a requisition for a position for, if there is a new position or if there is an existing position where a person has resigned, so he has to fill that. So that is a job requisition. And so you will see that there is a lot of position which is there into a job. Not a position, but there are a lot of field which is there in a job requisition. So that is basically it's a job requisition. There is a lot of field which is there in a job requisition. So we will see that how we can create all those fields. But however, I don't see that, we're going to do this today because there is something else topic which I have to cover. And then we also talked about your candidate pipeline and talent pipeline, right? I have already shown you what is candidate pipeline and talent pipeline. So let me just quickly do this revision for you. You will use this as a login. So what I was telling you about, we were discussing about the status set. So this is known as a candidate pipeline or the talent pipeline. So if I come here and if I click on the recruitment, in fact, on my profile also, there is a lot of recruitment requisition which is there. So if I click on the job requisition, you'll find there's a lot of job requisition which is there. So if I click any of these details, so let me click the one which is created by Tessa Walker. So here there is a planner which is coming here. So if I click on the candidate summary, so you will see it will take you to the to the candidate profile. Now here just notice one thing, team, like forwarded, invited to apply, new application, interview, manager review. And if I'll click on the another requisition, then this pipeline will change. So if I click here in the job requisition, and if I click here into something else, so I'm just searching for Tessa Walker. So you can see there is an account executive here. Actually, you can check from candidate summary here also, or you can check it from here also. All right. So if I click here into this section, so you will see again the candidate summary, it will open up here, right? Now you can see there is some different which is showing up here in your this section. So your talent pipeline or candidate pipeline, it will keep on changing as per the configuration which you have done. Now we talked about the base set. Base set I have shown you in the provisioning also, and even in the instance architecture in the yesterday session, and I showed you that Acho, all these like the boxes which you're seeing here, this is known as a, pipeline. No, I think this is known as a status, but the complete whole this detail it is known as a status set. So do remember this. This is status and this is status set. Then after that, we also talked about that everything you can copy from your base set and make it into your client specific requirement. And in this case, we have made it we created the technical status set and the function status set. So like this, we have created only one, but I just showed you that how you can create it. Then we also talked about the applicant status configuration. In applicant status configuration, we talked about there are three by default section it will show, which is a forwarded status, system status, and withdrawn status. And the three status, that's something you will have to bring your status into this one, which is into your in progress, onboarding status, and disqualification status. In progress is nothing, it's just your whatever when you copy from the base set, it is basically hidden, and then you have to make it active. So that is known as a you'll have to activate that your status set. Then we have also seen the onboarding. Onboarding is basically when you hire the person and before you move to the person to the employee center, that's basically it's an onboarding. And then there is a disqualification state. At any point of time, if a person has been disqualified, it will come into the disqualification status. So we talked about all these things, like the candidate pipeline. Then there is a category. This category, it is basically say like what all field you want. See, these are the field which you want. You have to do that in the category. But anyway, this category, I'm not touching it today because it's a very lengthy topic. So I'll be discussing this on Friday. I'm going to start this. But before we go ahead, team, there is another thing which is there, which I have to cover it. There is a job requisition prerequisite, which is copied from here. There is a job requisition prerequisite which is there. And what is that prerequisite? Job requisition has a three prerequisite. One, it is your status set. What is the status set, team?
Status set is like a set of a complete status, like a different invite to apply, forward as an applicant. So for the different status,
Very
we
good.
combine.
Yes, good, good, Gaurav. Anusha, hello. Are you able to hear me, Anusha?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
You're able to hear me, but no hello, no nothing. Just coming quietly and attending the session.
Yeah, not feeling well today, so
So that's a job requisition. The first job requisition, there is a prerequisite. What is that prerequisite? It is a status set. Second, it is your rating scale. What is rating scale, team?
The rating is provide.
Yes, Gaurav. Yeah.
Sure.
Rating is what?
Rate the score we used to give to a candidate, that how he is performed, like from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, some whatever the scales that we used to define.
Yes.
For based on the performance, that was the score share he has obtained.
All right. The score normally that we give to the as a rating. So that is known as a rating scale. So which we're going to define it in today's session only. So, rating scale, Anuja, if you're not sure, like for example, see, when you have a job requisition, there are certain parameter when interviewer takes rate you on, right? Like for example, the communication skill they rate you on, they rate you on your technical knowledge, right? How good you are on technical knowledge, right? So those, if you have to rate somebody, then you have to use a rating scale. Then there is a third
kind
option,
of
and that,
feedback form. It's a kind of feedback form
but
for
the
the
feedback will be mentioned in your. It's not a separate form. It's not a separate form, but when you normally take an interview, like for example, let's suppose here we have an interview one, right? How you going to see when the interview one it is done? You have to write your feedback. Feedback is something which is very different. Feedback is something, see, in recruitment, there is no feedback because employees not you've hired. Now imagine Anuja in that way. You're not hired in any company and you have gone for the interview and company is giving you feedback. You will not like it. They
yeah,
will, right? See, there are certain if they tell you it's like, that, oh, you're not supposed to come like this, you're not supposed to walk like this. You're not their employee, right?
no,
Who's they're
right,
supposed to correct you. Correct?
yeah,
So the feedback is something very different. So in recruitment, there is no feedback. In recruitment, see, if they don't like you, they will reject you. But they will never come out and open and tell you, that this is what and this is what it should be there. So it's a kind of a rating which you giving on your when you're hiring a person. just to see that, whether the person suits to your organization culture or not. So that is what the
Just
rating scale it is.
Okay.
Have you done any other module in SuccessFactor?
Yeah, EC model.
EC, so in EC also you have a rating scale, right?
Yes.
or
All,
in layman term, if we say if we buy a product on Amazon or Flipkart, then we have got an option after that rate the product. So
yes.
yes, the
There,
rating that
yes.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
yes,
Rating is also there on the Amazon, right? So you have your Amazon where you I normally check it, whenever I buy the product, on Amazon especially, I always go there and put before even looking at the product, I will put that, only show me the product which is 4 and above rating. Otherwise, don't show me the product because there is so much of fraud happens in Amazon, no?
Right.
So it's okay. The third option it is, see team, I'm intentionally not starting very big topic because, it's a festival and tomorrow again there's no session here, so I don't want to intentionally touch anything which I have to cover it next day. So what is route map team?
router is just a workflow that's to approve the requisition that we created from the
Yes, to approve
manager
the
hiring.
yes, to approve the requisition which we have created. Actually, why there is a route map and workflow both? Why there is two different terms?
Actually, the workflow terms we use in EC, but in like a PMGM or recruitment, there's no term related to workflow. There's only a route map to make a flow for the one stage to another stage. So that we consider as a workflow as also.
Right, but then why in EC they don't call it as a route map, why they call it as a workflow? There has to be some reason for that.
Yes,
So what is that reason?
because the workflow is a configurable that the way which you want to like, but if she had go to the department head or some whatever the configuration that we need to go, so we can configure the workflow. But the route map is say based on the employee cycle, so it's like manager or HR or like a second manager. So it's come under that thing only. So the route map works it's that manner.
Okay,
Um, I hope the workflow it will trigger only for the approval purposes, and route map it will go by step process. So where if any requirements we need to reroute it back so that it will be helpful.
okay. The module which has been created by SuccessFactor, like for example, PMGM module, compensation module, variable pay. These are the modules which was created by SuccessFactor. So whatever SuccessFactor they have created, they have used your route map. The module which was developed by SAP, Employee Central was developed by SAP. It was not the module when SAP took over SuccessFactor. This module was not there. And in fact, SuccessFactor was more technical that time. So after SAP, when they took over, they came with the EC module, and this was in 2014. So, which means before January 2014, there was no EC module. All right, so the module which has been developed by SAP, call it as a workflow, and the module which was developed before is they call it as a route map. So that is only difference. There is no other difference. Okay, and so, route map is nothing, it's just a workflow. You just create your, like whoever will be the approval authority and who's going to approve your all these workflows. So that is what basically it's a route map, it's all about. So let's see. So we're going to create the rating scale first. So this one we have already done. And we have already seen your how we can create this data set, and we have spent lots of time on that. So in today's session, we're going to create your rating scale. Rating scale, it's nothing, it's just that how you, in RCM, how you're going to evaluate a candidate. So that is where the rating scale we use. Now, rating scale can be of two type. One, it is automatic way of creating a rating scale, and another way it is creating a manual way of. So when you're creating a manual way of rating scale, so you have to write everything there, the rating scale, the description. But when you're selecting the automatic rating scale, there it is already selected, what rating scale you want. So the standard one, which is like 1 to 3, 1 to 5, and 1 to 7. So these are the rating scale you will find in SuccessFactor. Let's see more detail about the rating scale. So here you can see rating scale. It's nothing. It's just to score and to evaluate the candidate. So that is what your rating scale it actually does it. It just gives you, it's like, that you have a certain applicant and those applicant you want to rate them to decide who is better for the organization. So you have a numbering system. So those rating scale, it's like you can actually give to decide which candidate is better. So you can use rating scale for the candidate application. You can use this for screening and shortlisting. You can also use for the decision and offer, and you can also use for the interview and assessment. So these are the area where you can actually use the rating scale. Now here also you can see rating scale will like one, it means not up to the expectation. Second, you can see it is partially met. Then you can see three, it is met expectation. Fourth, it is exceeded, right? So like this, you can give your rating scale description. Then it also helps in the consistent and the fair way of recruitment. Who is actually performing good. So in that case, you can go ahead with the candidate who's actually performing good. Now here you can see the component of rating scale. The component of rating scale, it is you can define, as I said, in the standard one, you can use as a 1 to 3, 1 to 5, or 1 to 7. If you do not want to use this, maybe if you want to use 1 to 6, in that case, you can create the custom rating scale. With each rating which you're going to give, you have to write the label like outstanding, good, average. And apart from a label, you also have to write the description. So description, like when you're writing the outstanding, so there has to be some description. When you're selecting the good, there has to be some description. Like for example, when you're selecting the average, there has to be some description. And then you also have to give a weightage to each of the rating scale, which we'll see when, technically when we will configure this in the system. So weightage also you can see like communication has been given as a 30% weightage, technical skill has been given as a 50% weightage. So these are the component of a rating scale when you will define in the system. Then where do we use this rating scale? So far we know that in RCM, to evaluate a candidate, we use a rating scale. So you can also see you can use the rating scale when you are doing the interview assessment. And let's suppose there is a technical person, one who has rated, then there is somebody else has rated, right? So you use that assessment to evaluate where does a candidate applicant fit into the job requisition. So that ways you can also go ahead and use your rating scale. Like in this case, you can see you can use after the interview, the manager scores a candidate, right? So then you can club those different manager and pull out the actual rating what the employee has got. So here you can see, for example, the communication. In this case, you can see this employee has got 4 out of 5. Then you have a application screening. Application screening is nothing. It's just that you have a, like you getting so much of applicant, and you have to screen them, right? So there also you can give them a rating scale, like whether the experience is matching or not, whether the person is willing to go on site or not, right? So those also you can give as a rating scale, and whoever has got the good rating scale, you can go ahead with the interview with that applicant. Then you can also see the competency evaluation. So competency evaluation is a predefined job competencies which you can also evaluate, and then you can also use that for the rating. Another, it is your offer letter. You can also use the offer letter for the rating. How much is the offer letter, offer approval, this person has approved it or not. So that detail also you can use for the rating, and then finally you can release the offer for the candidate. Now you can see now this rating scale, the example which we have taken, that is a five rating scale which we have taken. You can go ahead and create any point of rating scale, but the rating scale should always be number because there is a formula to it. So now here you can see those number. It is like one, it is poor, which is does not meet the expectation. Now you can see five, it is outstanding, and here it meets all the requirement. So like this, you can see your all these rating scale points. So, uh, so like this, you can create your rating scale in the system. Now here you can see the candidate evaluation. Like in technical skill, the employee has got five, which is an excellent coding skill. Now problem solving, you can see three, and here you can see this is the average way. You figure it out how much is the overall rating for the candidate. So you can see whatever the rating you have got and the number of it, you just divide by it, so you get the overall rating for this employee. So 4 means it is very good. So like this, you can calculate the rating for all the applicant and then decide with whom you want to go ahead. Then here also you can see the weightage wise calculation if you want to see. So here also you can see the weightage wise. Like for example, there are sub competency, which is technical skill, communication, problem solving. And you can see these are the weightage which has been given. The rating what the employee has got, which is 543, and then you can figure it out, the weightage is score, which is into the 50% comes to be 2.5. Then you can add all these three, the weightage is score. So here you can see 4.3 he has got out of 5, which is not bad. So this is how you calculate the weightage wise calculation, or if you want to calculate the overall rating, like this you can calculate the overall rating. So that was about the rating scale. All right. So if I come here and if I come to the system and if I type here as a rating scale, so you will see your ratings scale, it will come here. So once you click on this rating scale, so you will see there is a lot of rating scale which is there in a system. It's a demo system. So there's a lot of rating scale which is there. Uh, you can create a new rating scale, and you can see the existing rating scale. Before we create a new rating scale, let's check the existing rating scale, what they have. I saw somebody, Chapli, Monica. Let's see what she has created. Acha. So there are rating scale which is manual, and then there are rating scale which is automatic. So I'll show you both manual and automatic both. So once you come here, so you can see there is a name. So you can write the name of your rating scale. You can give the description, what the description it is. Many times when you will see the description into your rating scale designer, it will show you as a dot dot. Why it will show you as a dot dot? Because that rating scale is longer than whatever the description which is required. Let me show you. So if I come here, I don't know how much is a character which is actually here, but let me show you somewhere they have a dot dot. Actually, they don't have any dot here. No place people they have created any dot here, but let me come to Champli, Monica, let me show you. If I just write any random text here, here, so and if I save this, anyway, this is not my detail, but anyway, let me save this. So if I save this and if I come back here, you will see it will show you as a dot dot. Where is Champla? Champali. Actually, it's still not showing. Oh, it's still not showing, yeah. Okay. Oh, it hasn't saved.
This the different one.
Oh,
Change in
this is a
another one.
different one. I changed, which one I changed? I changed what this Chapali Pavitra only, right? Which one I have changed, but
Here
here
last
it
one.
is.
Monica Mocha.
Monica, Chapali Monica. So here you can see this dot, 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 right? That means the text is more here. Now, obviously, I have just given this A just to show you that. So again, let me open that. Let me remove this, whoever has created this. I don't want to trouble that person and save this again. Now, there on the left hand side, you can see rating scale can be of 1 to 3, 1 to 5, and 1 to 7. And build your own. This is the manual way of creating your rating scale, which means if I click on 1 to 3, now here you can see I don't have a click option because it's already created. So here you can see like it has a 1 to 3. 1 to 3, it means like it will have a 1 to 3 score. It will not have fourth one and the fifth one also here. Then by default, it will also have a label and it will also have a description. Then if I click on 1 to 5, you will see that 1 to 5 score, label, and the description it will show. And then if I click on the 1 to 7, it will have a 1 to 7 is score, label, and the description. So automatically system will pick up all these details and it will show to us. Then you have a build your own. Build your own, it's a manual way of creating this, which means it will not show any score, label, and the description. So that is what your manual auto do. Acha, whenever you save your rating scale, whether it is automatic or manual, you will all after saving this you will see that if you want to add some more score you can go ahead and add some more score here. Maybe after fifth I want to add something sixth here, so I can create this sixth option here. So that is what your rating scale it is. Now here again, if I come back here to the rating scale designer, so this was some existing rating scale which I showed you. Let me show, we're going to create our own. So here you can see create a new rating scale. If I click on this option, you can see it has opened. Now, the one which I told you that this is automatic. So you can see by default 1 to 5, it has been selected, right? So you can see score, label, and the description also by default, it is showing up here. So here you can see by default, it is showing up here. Then you also have a 1 to 7. So what will happen if I click on 1 to 7? You will see this rating scale will change to 1 to 7, even the label and the description. If I click on 1 to 3, you will see it will have a 1 to 3 rating scale, which is a label and description. And if I click on the manual one, which is like build your own, you will see here it will not show me anything. So you can create your all these sections, but by any by any chance, team, when you are at the client location, always remember this is not what you want. This is what you always have to follow what the client is saying. So your client would have already shared with you that what rating scale they have in the company. So the same rating scale, you can go ahead and configure this. Now your client can have a 1 to 5, 1 to 3. So you can just have a 1 to 3 rating scale. You may have a 1 to 5 rating scale, whatever the client may have. Or you may have a rating scale which is like 1. Then you have a leaving after 2, it will show you as a 3. After leaving 2, it will show you as 5. And after 5, it will show you as 7. And then it will show you as a 9, right? So this is after leaving, or if you want to, you can make it as after 3 only. But let me show you how you can create that. So lower it is, like I want to start with the 1. Highest one, I want to make it till 10. And the increment, I want to increase by 2. If I generate this, you will see it will ask you that all scale value will be deleted. Are you sure? Yes. So you can see by default, all these is code it has already automatically created, right? Now you can copy and paste the label and the description, whatever the client has given to you. So that is the manual way of creating it. Normally, what I generally follow, I select it as a 1 to 5th one. and then I save this, and then whatever the client they ask me to change here. So whatever their text and label it is, I go ahead and I make these changes. I'll follow the 1 to 5 one only. And what is my company name team? Which company we are doing this? Deloitte.
Deloitte.
So I'll create here as a Deloitte rating scale. So I'll come here. I'll give this Deloitte rating scale. So I'll just copy this one and I'll put that into my Excel sheet also so that we know that this is what we have created. So you can see Deloitte rating scale and we have followed this 1 to 5 here. Now, if I select here as a automatically, you can see there is no add new option it is coming. But the moment I'll save this, you will see that add new option it will start coming. So let me save this. Once I save this here, can you see this? Add new score has started coming, right? So you have an option here to add new score. You also get an option to delete also now. Now, if I come back to the rating scale designer, in your rating scale designer, you will see the one which you have created with the Deloitte. I don't think so it is coming in ascending or descending order. Here it is showing you as a Deloitte. This is the one which we have created. And then here you can see the description we have created today. And what is this showing up here? Acha, I think this is a username,
User.
emos, whoever it is, right? So it is so this is how you can create your rating scale. By default, you can see you also have a delete option, but if you want to make it certain thing inactive, just remove this tick mark here. It will become as a inactive section. So that is how you create your rating scale. Now
That will be
let's
defined by
move.
the client.
Anuja, everything it will be defined by your client. You don't have
That is in
to,
the workbook.
it will be there in the workbook. Acha, workbook is another thing which we have to discuss it. So let me write down here workbook so that we can discuss here as a workbook here. Acha, maybe I think let me show you workbook because even the route map also it will take lots of time. So this is again something pending here, which I'll cover it on Friday. But let's just discuss about the workbook. What is workbook?
It can say entirely details from the client as per their what they are desired in the system as per their
Were
process.
they?
Uh, Whatever they as per their process, they define everything how they want the system, whether who is
No,
going to
no, they have
approve
not.
and
No, Anuja, they have not defined anything. How if they have already defined how they want, then why they going ahead with the implementation? No,
yeah,
they
we just keep
see.
everything we are mapping in the system as a workbook in the Excel.
The workbook is a requirement which you have to take it from the client about their processes, and you're going to map it as per their requirement in the system. Now, when you're talking about success factor, in success factor, you have a workbook. And when you're talking about your premise-based platform for the success factor, there you're talking about blueprint. It's one and it is same thing, but in blueprint, you have to create everything from the scratch. And the advantage with the workbook it is that everything it is predefined. You are just filling those column. So that is what your workbook is all about. We will see, once we open the workbook and we'll see that, what all column which is already predefined and what we have to fill that. But before we go ahead, let's see that what is workbook in RCM. Now, workbook, it is kind of a blueprint, not only just for RCM, for every module, you will be doing the configuration or the implementation, you require a workbook. Like, for example, here we are talking about the RCM, but if you talk about the Employee Central or if you talk about your uh, PMGM module, compensation, variable pay. So there also it has its own workbook. So workbook, you can see it serves as a purpose of a blueprint where you can step down all the configuration, like the workflow field which is required, approval step which is needed, the rating scale which is required, what is the status set which is there, right? So all these detail you can fill that. Now, what is the purpose of filling all these information? The purpose of filling all this information, it is that when you're doing the configuration, you don't have to search for anything. You know that the in the workbook you have already specified, and you just go ahead and create as per your workbook, because this workbook, it's not only just for creation, it's also it has been approved by it. It has to be approved by your consultant, the one who's going to do the implementation, and it also has to be approved by the client side also. So that is the reason it serves as a master record, where when you're going to do the configuration, so these are the detail which you have to use it. So you can see it's a master design guide which you build and deploy what has to be done. Now here you can see the workbook importance, the importance of workbook. It is like you can design the workbook, and here it will have all related to RCM module, what you have to configure. It also has a documentation. So documentation, it is like, you're documenting everything, what you're going to do, the configuration. See, various time when you don't document what you have to configure, in that case, and if it is not approved by the client, so in many times, what happens, client, they go back and they say that they have never said this. So that is the reason it is very important to document all these record. So here you can see all these documentation, it is coming. Then you have a consistency. So this is also important that it ensures that all the consistency which is there. So from the consultant to the client, they understand, a consultant knows that what he's going to do the configuration, and the client will also understand that what they will be getting. So that is way also it is it solves as a consistency detail. Then you also have a change control. Like for example, let's suppose client has said that at this point of time they want this. After testing, if they feel that they have a different requirement altogether, so in that case you can also control the change record. This is what it was promised, and this is what it is, the change which has come. Then there is a audit and maintenance also. So with the audit, you pull out your report and the maintenance. So that is where the audit and maintenance is, solves a purpose. So you can see all the audit and detail, right? So like when you're doing a testing, basically, you can see that, what it was, the what they have signed on the workbook, whether it is as per the, what you agreed or not. So that is what the audit purpose also you can do that. Then apart from this work, you can see here when we use this. So we use this workbook when you're doing the requirement gathering. When you're doing the requirement gathering, so customer and your consultant both are involved in that case, because the client has to tell you the requirement and you have to map those requirement. Then you can see the solution design. So you have to map all the requirement in the workbook. You consultant also use this workbook when they are doing the configuration, because all the system has to be as per the workbook. You can't configure anything what has not been agreed, right? Because again, it will be, because the client and the customer, they both have agreed that they'll be getting this. So that is the reason when you're doing the configuration, you use that. When you're doing the testing also, it is very important. In that case, your client and the consultant, they both can test it, whether what is mentioned in the workbook, it is coming the same thing or not. So like this also, you can go ahead and do all these testing. Then another detail you can see, it is to go live. When you go live, and if there is a issue coming, then in that case, you will see that, support, then support team comes into the picture, and they see that, what is that issue, and then they try to resolve that issue. Now obviously support team will also refer to the workbook, like what it was said, and then in that case, they just go ahead and resolve those issues. So these are the area where you can use your workbook. Now what is inside the workbook? Inside the workbook, it is all column, and which is a certain column which is mandatory, certain field it is not mandatory. So you just specify what all you'll be needing. We'll just open up a workbook also, and I'll show you in few minutes, well, once we are done with the PPT. So here you can see you have a job requisition setup. When you have a job requisition setup, so like for example, job title, department, hiring manager. So all those people, you can specify in the workbook, like who will be providing this job requisition, right? So in that case, you don't have to bother about whether the requisition is coming from somebody else or something. So they know that they have to follow a proper format. Then you can see candidate profile. Candidate profile also, when in the workbook, you have to mention what data you have to capture, like name, email, experience. You also have an application template. Application template, it is like what all detail you want from the candidate, like attaching the resume, answering certain question, right? For like in the technical session, it is very important, that you have at least have certain question that which where you can judge a person that he's technically good or not. One of the important thing, it is like in technical you need uh, applicant should be open for travel, like because IT job is about traveling to the client and traveling not only just within the country, even it is outside the country. Now person who does not do like traveling, now most of the companies, they prefer not to hire them, because nobody, as I said, majority of a job, it will be about going to the client side and resolving those issues. Then you have a route map. Route map, we have just discussed, like who's going to approve all these route map, which is basically it's nothing, it's just a workflow. So all those detail you can specify in your workbook, which will help the consultant to configure all these detail. And when you're doing a testing also, you know that what to test, whether the workflow, it is going to from the recruitment, it is going to the manager or not, from the manager it is going to the HR or not. Then you have a status set. A status set, it is nothing, it's just your like we've already seen, like the new interview offer, hired, right? So what all the status set it is coming. The rating scale, how you want to do the rating scale, permission, who will have the permission to access to the right. Recruiter can do certain thing, manager can view certain thing, right? So you can see, you can define who will be editing and who will be viewing that. Then similarly, you have a offer detail, like your offer detail, salary, start date, hiring manager. So that also you specify in the rating scale what all detail it will capture in your offer. Now, these are the few example of a job requisition section, like one of the section you can see. So you will have a field like job title, hiring manager, department, budget, job description, right? Then you can see in technical, when you're mapping, you have to map it with a field type. There can be certain field which can be text. There can be certain field which is checklist. There can be certain field which can be a drop down. There can be certain field which is just a budget. Numeric, like date, you will see the numeric, and then there is a job description, which is a kind of a text area. So you have to specify those text area which you want to put it into your job description. So like this, you can go ahead and do that. You can also specify whether it's a mandatory, not mandatory, optional. It is visible to whom, who can edit, who can view. So all these detail you can specify in your workbook. Now, the role of a workbook, it is like requirement gathering, design and mapping, configuration, testing, go live, right? So these are the role, and these are the places where you phases actually where you will be using your workbook. Then each workbook, there is a version control. You know that what version it is and who has made these changes. So like this also you can keep the version control, because it will help you the latest one, to follow what is all these version control and everything. Now, this is your example. You can see here. Now, there is a ABC company, and they want to automate their hiring process using the SuccessFactors RCM. So, in how you're going to utilize this workbook, in your workbook, you can capture all their requirement, like job requisition field, approval route map, candidate status, rating scale, And then you can see the step two, it is like, who will, you can design the workbook, configure it, and then you can do the UAT testing with the help of a workbook. Then once everything is fine, you can sign off and go live, right? And after sign off, the support start. So these are the places actually where you use your all these workbook. And now let's technically see, let me open a workbook and show you how it looks like. But whenever you do the implementation, always download the latest workbook. There is not major change it will come, but there would be slight change, which you will find. I don't know how old this workbook is. So you'll find some slight change from your workbook to the latest, but it will not be completely a major change. So you can see the cover sheet. Cover sheet, it will always have success factor recruiting, right? This is also known as a recruitment marketing. And so sometimes they will write here as a recruitment marketing so you can see here which company it is, and this is a configuration. Actually, what is the difference between configuration and the and your customization? Yes, team. Yes, both of you. What is the difference between Ajish?
Yes, Ashish.
What is the difference? You're sitting very quietly, huh?
No, no, I because I yesterday session also I'm not there, right? So that's why I'm just keeping quiet to understand.
Okay. What is the difference between configuration and customization?
Configuration is already pre-configured from the SF or SAP side. Customization, it can be it is an enhanced option for us to do enhancement.
Yeah, enhancement, that's what you're saying. And no, enhancement is a different thing, Ajish.
Uh, okay.
Um, what is configuration work?
Configuration, it is to do a set of process. Like if there is a job requisition has to be done, that has to be pre-configured from the system, right? So the step by step process to be configured, to whom it has to be trigger, the flow of process.
Okay, I'll take it. The configuration is basically the configuration it is the standard thing is already provided in the system and you just have to configure it.
Yes.
So that is the configuration. Customization, it is when you don't have that particular thing defined in the system at all, and you have to do that everything from the scratch. All right, in simple terms, like for example, let's suppose it's asking you the first name and it's asking you the last name. Now, obviously, in SuccessFactor Employee Center, you will have the first name and the last name. So you already have your these two detail.
Yes, sir.
And so let's suppose these two detail it is not there. So in that case, what you'll be doing, you'll be customizing it. You'll be customizing as per the client requirement. Okay. Now let's suppose the client want the middle name also. So in this case, what you're doing? You're doing the enhancement. So that is enhancement. So there's a difference. Acha, in your cloud system, customization is not possible. Only the configuration it is possible. Okay. Why customization it is not possible? Because see, like you have a hosting of your server at a one particular SuccessFactors server, right? And that server would be accessible by various clients, which means if they make a changes to one particular client, that changes will reflect to everybody, whoever is there in that particular server. So that is the reason, uh, customization, it is not possible, but configuration is the only thing which is possible in the cloud-based system. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that is the difference between. So here you can see there is a workbook. Now let's just come to the workbook. So here you can see configuration workbook. This is a table of content. Table of content, which means it's just telling you that what all like worksheet, they have, and what all field and everything which is this. So here you can obviously this will not work. So here you can see there is a role. So this is role, that's something we will be requiring that in your in the route map. So again, we will discuss about this. So here you can see anyway, we will be discussing that on Friday, so I don't want to discuss that here. So here also you can see relationship role here. So you can see overview of a recruitment role, right? So here you can see they have a very different kind of a role, but anyway, we'll discuss it on Friday. Now here you can see with the all these role, they have decided that who will be getting what access. Field overview, you can see, right? So there is a lot of text area. Ajit, the field that we were talking about in the recruitment, in the job requisition. So you can see text area. So you have a enum, picklist, currency, tribe, instruction. That's something we will see that here. Requisition field. So you have, I think it's the same thing. This is overview. Acha here, acha, okay. They have done like this. So this is overview here, and this is a role. Then here you can see this is a field overview, and this is the actual field, right? Who will be getting what field here? This is the ID, and this is a label. Requisition status. Then this is your type of field. Then here you can see required or not required, like custom or not, right? So like this, who will have an access and who will not have an access. Route map is something which we have discussed in today's session. So here you can see route map. So you have this route map where they have here as a name, which is like create requisition. After the name completion name, they have a requisition created. Then type of role, which is there for W, exit button sent to the recruiter. Anyway, this route map is also it's a different thing which we haven't done it. So whoever, like here you can see requisition button. Requisition button, it is like, who can see certain time when the requisition it is closed. Who can close the requisition? In this case, you can see recruiter, shared IT services center, they can do that. Sourcer can do that. Recruitment lead team can do that. Recruitment admin, and the rest of the people they cannot do that. Who can reopen a? Let's suppose you have already hired somebody, but that person has is not joining, and he has informed you that he is not joining the company. So in such case, who can reopen a requisition? So you can see these are the people who can reopen this requisition, right? So like this, you can see candidate profile setting. That's again something which we will see what all candidate profile will be required and will not be required, right? So that is a candidate profile. After candidate profile, candidate header and something you can see what all detail which is there for the header, candidate profile again here, first name, last name, what all text and everything it will have. So in your profile, you will see what all profile which then you can see applicant button. So here you have all these save, cancel, forward. So you have this candidate application, which are the field and everything which is showing up. So here you can see this permission. You have lots of permission here. The candidate's status. Um, so here you can see all these status like the new. So here you can see the status, right? We have already seen this status, right? Which is here as a new application. Then they want auto disqualified here. Then they also want the requisition close. Then they want here as a hired on the other requisition. So like this, you can see in progress, they want the pre-screen, recruiter review, hiring manager review, proceed, decline, schedule interview, then second interview, additional. Okay, so like this, you can see. Then you also have a status as if a person is getting declined, so you can see for what reason a person is getting declined. They have so many here withdrawn, no email, and whatever it is, right? So you can see there's a lot of candidate status what they have here. So we have already created candidate status, right? So like this, you can see what client requirement is and how you're going to create this candidate status. Candidate status translation. Translation in a different language. Do not worry, there'll not be your workbook will not be so complicated. I think which version it is, I'm really not sure about this. So you can see they have filled for almost all the country specific detail. So that is the reason it looks so complex, but it is normally not that complex. Application feature permission. So who will have all these like feature permission system access not applicable? You can see not applicable. So these are all these feature application detail it is showing up here. Then you have a career site launch. Career site, which means it's a internal career site which you have. So you can see, actually, this is for external candidate site search. So you can see external candidate site also, they can search for all these details. They will have a requisition number, department, division, location. We'll see that team in the coming session. But I don't think so. In the next week also we'll be able to see that. I think next to next week only we'll be able to see. So like this, you will see all these detail. You will have all these career site. Then you have a offer detail here, right? So whatever the offer text you want, the label and the field. So here you can see these are the field they want in the offer letter, right? Department, division, cost center. So all these section here you can see. And here also you can see if you get confused, right, with every worksheet, they will have this detail. They will show you that where this section it is actually coming here. Then you have a career site. Career site is an IJP. This one, I think it is for the external candidate. So here this is for the external and this, no, hold on. Career site, this one for the external candidate and this is for the internal candidate. Career site. Then employee referral, if there is any employee who has referred. So you can see all these employee referral, it will show you here and how this is coming here. Candidate status ERP. So here you can see candidate status also. Agency, what agency will be able to see, what they will not. Agency detail, name, address, phone number. Form template settings. So form template setting also. This is very similar to your, if you have done your PMGM, this is a very similar to your those form settings. So we will see all these form setting in a system, that how we can set up all these detail. Automated email, you have a various automated email also. So those mail triggers automatically here, right? But as I told you, team, by default, SuccessFactor does not provide any standard email notification from their side. Why they don't provide? Because recruitment is a branding for every organization. So they like to create their own text and everything. So like this, you will have to create your own everything, but you don't have to do that. You can just take all these requirements from the client side and you can map it into the system. So you can see email trigger for agency, what candidate for what email it should be there. For offer for what email should be there. For requisition, what email should be there. So like this, you can see all your this section. Then ad hoc email, which is triggering to multiple people at the same time. Recruitment setting, right? So you have all these recruiting settings like contact information, email address, candidate search settings. So you can see all these settings, which you'll have to go ahead and do that. Then you have a pick list. What is pick listing?
Drop down fields.
Huh?
The fields then drop down items. Like when
Right.
we used to have a
Kind of a
drop down.
drop. Yes. It's a kind of a drop down. So you have a pick list. I don't see, acho, for the requisition, we're going to create some pick list also. I'll show you where that pick list is and how we can do that. Then you also have an offer letter template. So you can have your all these offer letter template and everything. You also have a question library. Question library is something which I think I've already shown you yesterday, right? Like, are you authorized to work? Are you willing
Yes.
to relocate on? So these are the certain question here. Then rating scale, which we have just discussed in today's session, like zero not applicable, one it is unsatisfactory, two it is below expectation, three it is meet expectation, four it is exceed expectation, outsourcing, right? So like this, you can create it. So here you can see it's already given, right? So you just have to copy and paste that into your configuration. That's it. Header and footer, but this is basically it is required for the offer letter, or if you're sending any kind of an email trigger or something, if there is some header or footer that you want, right? Because normally when you send any client email, there has to be a proper address for an employee. It should not happen that it is going as a blank. You have to properly use the company logo in a footer, full name, write your designation, write your phone number, right? So it should be as a footer, it should be there. So that when a candidate applicant receive your email, they should be able to identify that, yes, from this organization and this person is working at this level. Then this is the integration transfer template, which is like when you're transferring those details. So that's something here you can see all these fields are required for those. So this is about your all these. You have your workbook. So you will have to. So client sometimes they don't understand this workbook. So either what you will have to do, you will have to fill one or two row for each of these sheet which is coming and share it with the client. And also when you fill this, whichever is a mandatory one, mark that with a different color so that you tell to your client that these are the when they share the sheet with you, they know that all the mandatory field it is already filled. Because taking out the data team, it is a very tedious job from the client, and they take lots of time to provide data. The bigger the company, the bigger the data problem it is. They take their own sweet time to provide you data. So it's very important that the first day only when you start doing it, you download all these the workbook and the data template and everything and send it to your client. And especially easy when you're doing this configuration. So download all the workbook and send to your client, marking with the important one, so that after 2 months also when the client is giving you this data, so at least the data is maintained properly. So like this, you will see all your those section which is there for the workbook here. So similarly, you will also have the workbook for onboarding and for the recruitment marketing also. So like this, you will see all these section here. Any question, team, on this?
No, sir.
Yeah, just would like to understand this regarding this workbook. So I understood this will be of only RCM, and for RMK there would be different
They will be
workbook, right?
different, right? Yes. RMK and onboarding, there will be a different workbook altogether.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The next topic, it is route map. What is a route map? A route map is nothing, it's just a notification. It's actually a workflow. And workflow is nothing, it's just a notification which gets triggered. And based on that, manager decides whether they want to approve or they want to reject a particular application. So that is a route map it is. Now, route map can be used for various things. Like in this one, you can see, with an example here, it is coming. Somebody has created a route map, and the first step you can see it has gone for the approval, and manager reviews it, and if they find everything it is fine, then they go ahead and they approve it. So this is how basically it's a route map. Now there are certain route map, it has a certain level. It can have a 1 level, it can have a 2 level, it can have a 3 level, it can have a 4 level. So like this, you can create a route map which can have a certain approval process, and that depends upon how the management they have agreed how many levels they want. So like this, you will have to define the route map in a system. Now, route map is important because it controls your approval authority. You know that uh, to whom this route map will go once you create a route map. Then another, the why it is important because of accountability. It holds the accountability of a person that why you have selected and why you are rejecting a particular application. Then there is a transparency. When you have a route map, it creates a transparency because you know that who has currently been involved in the process, and then there is a compliance of which it doesn't go to any unnecessary person. It goes to always the person whom you have defined in the system. So that is how so these are the importance of your creating a route map. Now, in RCM, the route map, it is used for job requisition. It is very important in the beginning when you're creating a job. There has to be a proper approval process that should be there because recruitment by default, it is one of the most expensive activity in the organization. And when your job requisition is not approved and you're working on a job requisition, and after certain time when you start scheduling interview, then you realize that there is no opening as such. So that is a complete wastage of time. So it's better that in the starting only the correct person should approve the job requisition so that you can start working on it. Then in RCM, you also require a route map that is for offer approval. Offer approval in the RCM, before you uh, like, see, once you generate the offer letter, after that, you have to take an approval before you send this offer letter to the employer applicant. So once you send for an approval, it goes to the following person, to whom you have mentioned in the route map. It goes to that person, and that person has to approve. Once it is approved from them, then only you can send to the applicant. So that is also very important. I mean, if there is anything which they want to hold, or if they can check the salary designation before giving the final approval. Then there is an interview feedback. Interview feedback also, you can create a route map, which is like which interviewer has given what feedback and why they have given feedback. That is also you can control with the route map. So these are the places where you can actually use a route map. Now here, let's see what is a component of a route map. So you can see there are certain steps. In this step, you can use your recruiter once they're creating the requisition. Then you can see the hiring manager has to approve it. Then HR has to approve. Then there is director approval. Not necessary that the same approval process will be for all. Depends upon how what step organization wants again each of a route map. Maybe let's suppose if a person applying for a leave application, there it will be a completely different route map. When a person applying for job requisition, there will be a completely different route map. So it all depends upon how they want the approval process to be there. Now you can see in your this step type, you have a single step, collaborative step, and iterative step. Single step, it is like, when you're creating as per the one person approval process, and majority of the time you will have to go ahead with the single step only. Collaborative step, it is when multiple people they can view and simultaneously they can check those records. But in collaborative, everybody cannot edit, and everybody cannot make an approval at the same time. So there's only one party which has to work on it. So then another, it is iterative. Iterative, it is like HR has done something and they have sent to the manager for the approval. Manager sees some fall again, he sends back to the HR. So like this, it is called iterative. So that is the reason majority of the time you will see people they go ahead with a single step only, because it makes it easier for that who is holding that, who's the owner for that particular step. So, and that is the reason, in case if they reject it, it comes back to the person. In case if they approves it, it moves on to the forward step, right? So that is the reason single step is better step. Now this is one of the example for job requisition you can see. Now here you can see there are total 4 steps. In this case, recruiter who has created a job requisition, and you can see here it is like they have a job requisition it is done, which is like the draft of a job detail, and it has gone to the hiring manager. Hiring manager approves job requisition, and once he approve, he will check the position, and then he will go ahead and approve it. Then it goes to the third step. You can see it is your HR partner. So your HR partner, whoever is a concerned person, they will check what is the compensation and other compliance detail. They will validate detail and then they will approve it. And the final approval, you can see it is coming from the director, which is actually sign off. So that is a final approval. Once these 4 steps has been done, then you can see you can create your job requisition here, and then you can start. Once you have created the job requisition, you can go ahead and post your job requisition. So this is one of the example of a route map. Not necessary that everybody has to follow the same step. It depends upon how your organization wants those steps to be there. So like this, you can create your route map.